There are seasons in life when it feels as though the world is moving one way and our hearts are moving another. We make our plans, we sketch our maps, we try to arrange our lives as though we were the architects of eternity. Yet sooner or later, something begins to stir within us, a quiet knocking, a gentle pressure, a sense that a hand greater than our own is rearranging the furniture of our soul. It is in these moments we realize that the divine plan is not something far off, written in the stars, hidden in the unreachable heavens, but rather it is moving closer, pressing nearer, until it rests within the very chambers of our heart. You see, the plans of God are never meant to remain as distant ideas, whispered only from pulpits or written only in books. They are meant to inhabit us, to become flesh in our choices, to breathe through our decisions, to echo in the way we love, forgive, and endure. God's plan is not only moving toward you, it is moving into you. Like roots pressing through the soil, it seeks the deepest places where you have hidden fears and longings. It is not content to remain external. It desires to become the melody your soul cannot stop singing. Perhaps you have felt it already, that restlessness that no accomplishment can quiet. That whisper that lingers when the room is silent. That unexplainable strength in moments when you thought you had none left. These are not accidents of thought or mere emotions. They are the movements of a plan greater than your imagination, drawing itself into alignment with the very center of who you are. We often think that God's plan is something like a script written in advance, and we must memorize our lines without error. But it is more like a symphony, and He is the composer who knows how to weave even the wrong notes, even the silences, even the forgotten entrances into a harmony beyond what our ears can predict. What matters is not whether you understand the whole composition, but whether you allow His music to enter your heart and guide your next step. There is something mysterious about this movement. It does not always arrive with trumpets or with thunder. Often it begins with a small nudge, a gentle pull toward forgiveness where bitterness had long built a home. It begins with courage to take one small step of obedience when the path ahead is still cloaked in mist. It begins when the heart, once sealed by fear or pride, opens itself to the possibility that there is indeed a purpose, even here, even now, even in me. The remarkable truth is that God's plan does not wait for you to be perfect. It does not pause until you have rid yourself of every doubt or mistake. Instead, it comes into the midst of your frailty, into the very soil of your weakness, and there it begins to grow. Think of the seed buried in the earth. It does not demand the earth be clean, polished, or worthy. It only asks for a place to rest, and then, quietly, irresistibly, it begins to push through the darkness toward the light. So it is with the plan of God. It pushes into the heart until it becomes life itself. If you are waiting for a sign that God has not forgotten you, here it is. Your very longing to know His plan is evidence that His plan is already near. The hunger you feel is not the absence of bread, but the proof that bread exists. The ache you carry is not the absence of meaning, but the signal that meaning is on its way. The fact that your heart stirs when you hear His name is not coincidence. It is the movement of eternity brushing against your soul. The heart is not an idle vessel. It was designed to be filled. If you do not allow God's plan to move within it, then other plans, lesser and smaller, will take its place. The world is full of substitutes, hollow promises that glitter like gold but crumble like dust. But when the divine plan enters the heart, it brings with it a weight of glory, a sense that you were not made merely to pass through life, but to live as one who is woven into the very story of heaven. So, do not resist the movement you feel within. Do not dismiss it as coincidence or silence it with distractions. Let it come nearer. Let it find its way past your doubts and fears, past your rehearsed excuses and old wounds. Let it reach the center, for when the plan of God moves into your heart, it is not just your life that changes. The whole world around you begins to change as well, because His plan in you becomes His plan through you. God's plan is not distant or unreachable. It is quietly drawing near, weaving itself into your heart until it becomes the rhythm of your life. God's plan is not distant or unreachable. It is quietly drawing near, weaving itself into your heart until it becomes the rhythm of your life. Many times we imagine the will of God as something far away, hidden in the clouds, locked behind mysteries too high for us to reach. We think of it as a treasure map with secret codes, as though only the most perfect or the most holy could ever discover it. But what if the truth is far simpler and more intimate than that? What if the divine plan is not waiting in the sky, but already unfolding within the chambers of your own heart? What if it is not about chasing something far away, but about allowing what is near to rise up and take shape? The closer you look, the more you will find that God's plan is not merely an outline for your future, but a living presence pressing itself into your present. It does not remain an idea outside of you, but it seeks to become the very rhythm by which your soul moves, the pulse that keeps you alive, the song that your heart cannot silence. Think of how often in life we chase answers outside of ourselves. We look for signs, voices, visions, and wonders, all the while overlooking the small yet persistent stirrings that already live within us. That longing for truth that never goes away, that ache for something higher than comfort or success, that hunger for love that does not fade with time. These are not random impulses. They are hints of a greater plan at work, signs that God's design is already moving closer, embedding itself into who you are and who you are becoming. The divine plan is not a contract written in the heavens waiting to be mailed to you. It is a living word that wants to be inscribed on your heart. You have felt it in moments of silence, when the noise of the world finally dies down and something within begins to whisper. You have sensed it when you could not explain why you were drawn toward mercy when bitterness seemed easier, or when forgiveness welled up in you despite the wounds you carried. You have known it when courage rose up in you, though fear was still present, or when love overflowed even though you had been hurt before. These are not accidents. They are the gentle ways in which the eternal plan of God moves closer to take root in your heart. The Creator does not shout His plan from the heavens in order to overwhelm you. He places it quietly within you, allowing it to grow in such a way that it becomes inseparable from your own heartbeat. There is a mystery here, because God's plan often does not come as a complete picture, but as a series of invitations. It does not unfold all at once, but step by step, like a melody teaching you its notes as you go. This is why the heart is so important, for the heart becomes the place where obedience and desire meet, where faith and doubt wrestle, where love and fear collide. And in that very wrestling, the plan of God takes shape. It is not so much about knowing every detail as it is about trusting that the one who began the work is bringing it closer and closer to its fulfillment. The rhythm of your life changes when you realize that the plan is not an external demand, but an internal transformation. Consider how a seed works. It is small, hidden, unimpressive at first glance. Yet when it is placed in the soil, it begins to grow, not because the soil is perfect, but because the seed carries life within itself. In the same way, God's plan does not wait for you to be perfect soil. It only asks for a place to rest, and once it is there, quietly, unseen, it begins to move deeper into your heart, sending roots into your identity and branches into your destiny. What begins as something hidden becomes the very tree that provides shade, fruit, and beauty not only for you, but for others around you. The plan that once seemed so far away is now the very life you are living, the rhythm that guides your steps, the melody that others hear when they encounter you. The beauty of this truth is that God's plan is both personal and purposeful. It is not a cold design imposed from above, but a loving intention woven into your existence. It takes into account your joys, your sorrows, your failures, and your strengths, and somehow it orchestrates them into a greater story. That is why the plan does not remain on the outside waiting for you to climb up and reach it. Instead, it moves into you, transforming even the broken pieces into part of the pattern. You are not left on your own to figure it out. The plan itself is alive, and it draws you forward, even when you cannot see the full path ahead. When you begin to sense this, life takes on a new rhythm. Decisions are no longer just about what seems profitable or convenient. They are about what resonates with that deeper call within your chest. Success is no longer measured only by what you gain, but by whether you are in harmony with the plan that beats within you. Struggles are no longer meaningless interruptions. They become part of the shaping process through which the plan matures in you, and moments of joy become more than fleeting pleasures. They become glimpses of the eternal purpose that has been moving into you all along. God's plan is not a distant echo. It is a present reality drawing near, filling your heart with direction, peace, and courage. It is the reason your soul cannot settle for shallow living, the reason you long for something that lasts beyond time, the reason your heart yearns for a love that is deeper than human strength can provide. It is not content to remain outside of you. It desires to be the very rhythm by which you walk, breathe, and live the stirring you feel inside. The restlessness, the quiet whisper, the unshakable pull is the evidence that His divine plan is already moving within you. The stirring you feel inside, the restlessness, the quiet whisper, the unshakable pull is the evidence that His divine plan is already moving within you. There are moments in life when we cannot explain the hunger we feel, a longing that no achievement or possession seems to satisfy. We may climb ladders of success, collect treasures of this world, and surround ourselves with comforts, yet deep within remains a space untouched by all of it. This is not emptiness for its own sake, but a signal that something greater is at work, something not satisfied with shadows when the light itself is drawing near. That stirring you sense in your most private hours is not an accident. It is the gentle pulse of eternity knocking on the door of your heart, reminding you that you were made for more than you can see. We often try to silence this stirring with distractions. We fill our days with noise, activity, and endless tasks, as though busyness could drown out the whisper. We try to explain it away, convincing ourselves it is simply ambition or desire for change. But the truth is, this restlessness is the voice of God's plan, already at work, already taking root, already shaping you from the inside out. It is not waiting for tomorrow or for a more convenient season. It has already begun, and the evidence is the fact that you feel it, that you cannot escape it, that it returns to you again and again no matter how far you run. When the divine plan moves within you, it rarely comes with thunder or lightning. More often, it is like a quiet nudge, a gentle reminder that you were created with purpose. It appears as the sudden conviction to forgive when bitterness has long lived in your soul. It rises as compassion in moments when you could have chosen indifference. It awakens as courage when fear has tied your hands. These are not random impulses, but the early signs of something greater unfolding, the fingerprints of a plan too vast for you to fully comprehend, yet too personal for you to ignore. Sometimes we imagine God's plan as something external, something that arrives only when a dramatic moment occurs or when a clear sign is given. But His work is often quieter, moving in the background of our hearts, aligning our desires, changing our affections, softening what has grown hard, strengthening what has grown weak. The stirring you feel is not the absence of clarity, but the presence of His hand. It is the reminder that the Maker of all things has already begun His work in you, not waiting for you to be perfect, but beginning even in your imperfection. Think of how rivers carve valleys through stone. The work is not loud, nor does it happen overnight. Drop by drop, moment by moment, the water shapes what seems immovable until the landscape itself is transformed. In the same way, the plan of God moves in steady persistence, carving through the hardness of the heart, reshaping desires, transforming thoughts, and aligning your steps. The restlessness you feel is not meant to frustrate you, but to draw you toward the one who is shaping you. It is the evidence that your life is not static, not forgotten, not without direction, but caught up in a story far larger than you could ever imagine. The stirring is also a call to trust, for often it comes without full explanation. You sense you are being drawn, but you do not see where. You feel the pull to step forward, but the path ahead is misted over. This is where faith takes root, for the divine plan is not revealed as a blueprint, but lived as a journey. You are not handed the full map, you are given a lamp for the next step, and that lamp is the stirring within you, the assurance that even without knowing the whole, you are being guided by the one who does. You may wonder why the stirring does not go away, why it lingers even when you try to bury it beneath excuses. The reason is simple. It is not something you created, so it is not something you can destroy. It comes from beyond you, yet it lives within you. It is the voice of eternity echoing in time, the reminder that your soul was designed not for small purposes but for eternal ones. And because of this, no matter what detours you take, no matter how many times you try to quiet it, it remains. It is patient, persistent, unshakable, because it carries the weight of divine intention. If you look closely, you will see that this stirring is not meant to torment you, but to awaken you. It is an invitation, not a burden. It asks you to lift your eyes above the surface of things, to recognize that your life is more than survival, more than accumulation, more than fleeting pleasures. It is a call to enter into alignment with the one who dreamed of you before time began, who set eternity in your heart, who moves His plan closer with every breath you take. This is why you feel restless in places others find contentment. This is why temporary victories leave you longing for more. This is why your soul will not allow you to be satisfied with shallow living. The stirring is proof that you were created for depth, for truth, for love, for purpose, for a plan that does not fade. It is not the absence of peace, but the pathway to it, not the denial of fulfillment, but the sign that true fulfillment is already on its way. So when you feel the whisper in your soul, do not dismiss it. When you sense the pull in your heart, do not ignore it. When the restlessness grows, do not silence it with distractions. For these are the movements of God's plan within you, the proof that His hand is guiding, the evidence that you are not forgotten, the reminder that eternity itself has already begun to take root in your life. God's plan does not wait for perfection. It enters your weakness, takes root in your heart, and grows into something greater than you imagined. God's plan does not wait for perfection. It enters your weakness, takes root in your heart, and grows into something greater than you imagined. Too often we believe that only the flawless can be chosen, that only the strong can carry purpose, that only the righteous can be vessels of the divine. We measure ourselves by our failings, and in doing so, we assume that the plan of God must be delayed until we fix ourselves. Yet the truth is more astonishing and more beautiful than that. The plan of God is not hindered by your weakness, but is drawn to it. For it is in weakness that His strength is revealed. It is in the cracks of your life that His light finds its way in. Think of the stories of those who walked before you. Rarely were they chosen because of perfection. They were called in their brokenness, in their fear, in their failures, and yet the plan of God entered them, transformed them, and through them reshaped the world. The lesson is clear. Perfection was never the requirement. Surrender was, and it is the same with you. The plan is not waiting for the day you will have no flaws left, no doubts lingering, no scars remaining. It is already present, already alive, already working its way into your heart right here, in the very places you thought disqualified you. The seed of God's plan is not deterred by the soil it finds. The soil may be rocky, shallow, or dry, but the life within the seed is stronger than the obstacles around it. Once planted, it pushes through the hardness, it searches for water, it reaches for the light. So it is with His plan in you. It does not shrink back because of your weakness, but presses deeper, drawing strength from the very place that once seemed barren. The root takes hold not because of the soil's perfection, but because of the power contained in the seed. Your weakness is not wasted. The pain you have carried, the mistakes you have made, the seasons where you felt lost, all of it becomes the ground where God begins His work. What you see as brokenness, He sees as the place where His grace can dwell. What you see as limitation, He sees as the very opening through which His plan can enter. It is a paradox, yet it is the rhythm of redemption. The very places you wanted to hide become the places He chooses to reveal His strength. This truth frees you from the endless chase of trying to be enough. The world may demand your perfection, but God does not. He desires your openness, your willingness, your heart. For once His plan enters your life, it begins to grow beyond your ability. It expands into places you could not reach. It produces fruit you could not manufacture. It carries you further than you could walk alone. You become more than what your weakness declared, not because you erased the weakness, but because His strength overshadowed it. Think of how light enters a darkened room. It does not wait for the room to become bright before it enters. The very presence of light dispels the darkness. In the same way, the plan of God does not wait for you to become whole before arriving. Its arrival is what begins the process of wholeness. What you thought would disqualify you becomes the very testimony that proves His plan is alive in you. Others may see your weakness, but they will also see the strength that rises from within it. A strength not your own, but undeniable in its source. This is why His plan always grows into something greater than you imagined. Left to yourself, you might dream small dreams, limited by your scars, restrained by your fears, confined by your past. But when His plan enters your heart, it opens horizons you did not believe were possible. It shows you that your story is not finished where you thought it ended, that your worth is not diminished by your failures, that your purpose is not canceled by your mistakes. Instead, it reveals that every chapter of your life can be rewritten by grace. Every wound can become a doorway. Every weakness can be transformed into testimony. The greatness of His plan is not found in what you can do for Him, but in what He can do through you. And because of this, even the smallest act of faith, even the simplest step of obedience, becomes a seed of immeasurable growth. A word spoken in love, a hand extended in kindness, a choice to forgive when you could have remained bitter, all of these become places where His plan takes root and expands into something beyond what you thought possible. From these small beginnings, a harvest comes forth, not because you were flawless, but because you allowed him to plant something eternal within your heart. Do not despise your weakness, for it is there that you will see the evidence of his plan most clearly. The moments when you have nothing left are the very moments when his strength carries you. The days when you feel unworthy are the days when his love whispers most loudly. The times when you fall short are the times when his grace proves sufficient. And as you walk through these seasons, the plan of God grows quietly but surely, turning ashes into beauty, turning despair into hope, turning weakness into strength. What begins as something small in the heart does not remain hidden. As it grows, it overflows. Others begin to see the transformation, not because you present perfection, but because you radiate grace. They see the light that shines through the cracks, the fruit that grows from once barren soil, the strength that rises in weakness. And in seeing it, they too are reminded that the plan of God does not wait for perfection, but begins where surrender is found, takes root where weakness is acknowledged, and grows into a life greater than anything you could have imagined.